I would never have considered Total War to be meeting with World War One. Yes, what you see right now on your screen is World War One itself. You can hear the sounds of roaring cannon fire, artillery shells, you've got soldiers screaming and shouting, you've got the blow of whistles. This is the Great War in Total War. In a nutshell, I might be repeating myself, but have you ever considered that Total War and World War One would ever mix? It's impossible to think just because of the tactics, the tactical approaches, etc. But somehow, it manages to work with this fantastic mod. So in this video, I'm simply going to be telling you my thoughts of this fantastic mod and why you need to download it right now. And you can get it from ModDB, and it is one of the most easiest Total War games to install. You can check out this tutorial from a great YouTuber right. This is a historically accurate mod with hundreds of factions, hundreds of units, and it brings to the horrors of what World War One was. It was a brutal conflict that really was fought for nothing, in my opinion. It is one of the most interesting time periods to see how warfare changed from the mass battalions to trenches and individual fighting skirmish tactics. You know, the offensives, everything that was fought in this war was legendary, epic, but also tragic and triumphant at the same time. This was a war that cost Europe an entire generation. A war that, I will still repeat, I am not sure what it achieved at the end. However, now if we move on to the Great War mod, you will play from 1914 to 1918. There are two modes. There is a historical mode and then there is a ahistorical mode. And in World War One, I believe any faction could have gone either way, because the alliances between, let's say, before 1914 were bubbling under the surface. Nations were making alliances here and there. You know, it wasn't a black versus white when it comes to this. If you want to relive the World War One period, check. You want to recreate the Battle of Jutland? Check. You want to recreate the Austrians attacking the Serbians? Check. You want to recreate the Austrian defense against the Brusilov offensive? Check. You want to fight Verdun? Check. You can do all of that within this mod. And most importantly, you have historical battle maps as well, and they really fit the time period. They are really excellent. There's only one downturn of this mod, is that the fact is that when you play a battle on the campaign map, it's going to look Napoleonic. It's going to look a bit bright. It's going to look a bit as if it hasn't been scarred already. And I'm not sure whether they can sort of implement or change things here and there to make battlefields on the campaign map to look a bit more World War One style, more trenches, more alpine mountains, etc. So I'm not sure on how that works, but what we have here still really works. And if you want to bring that World War One atmosphere, just recruit a bunch of artillery, and sooner or later you'll see battle, and you will see smoke and dirt rising from the air. You will see cavalry being shot to shreds. You know, cavalry can't just do anything anymore now. The power of battles is through the infantry. And even infantry tactics don't even matter now, either way. Tactics are more or less, if you send more and more infantry, then that's the meat grinder for you. That is the war machine of World War One. It will grind as many lives as possible. Unique tactics will not matter. They will matter in terms of small scale, not even big scale, in that type. This mod represents what Total War modding has been able to achieve throughout all of its history. It achieves the pinnacle of what I think a Total War mod should be. It overhauls the great game to a World War One setting. There are scripted events here and there. As every faction that you choose, you will be playing, you will have different objectives. You'll even get events detailing you what important events happened during World War One. And let's be clear, World War One was such a era of tumultuous change. You know, you had monarchies and then you had governments. Monarchies at the start, governments at the end. That's what you essentially had. You know, World War One was the ultimate change, and I would like to see a bit more World War One mechanics in terms of campaign. You know, in terms of ascension, in terms of other things to be added in. But for what the modders have entirely done, they've done an absolutely excellent job. I mean, I really wished if it was possible to expand the Ottoman front so you could play the campaigns of the Ottoman Empire. But unfortunately, you're just restricted to Greece, so I'm not sure what more can be done in that regard. Of course, there's excellent World War One historical battle maps. I seriously urge you to go and check it out in the custom battle. When I tried to play it on my side, I encountered a few crashes here and there, but that's because Napoleon Total War is an old game by now, and I do think that it does need some updates, as far as I'm concerned. Overall, at the end of the day, this is a really fantastic mod. It really immerses you into the time period, and there's a lot to sink into. You know, you might just think these 4 or 5 years are just nothing, but it's really intensive. I mean, if I wanted to play a fast campaign, you're not going to get that. You're going to play a very slow paced campaign, and you got to really take your time with everything you will do in this mod. And I have to say, it's one of the best mods out there, and we just don't get mods like this anymore. Like really big ambitious mods like this, it's a bit of a rarity nowadays. Of course, you have Attila with its mods, but you know, this mod, I believe, has been in the works for a very long time indeed. So you know what, why don't we go and subscribe to it? Okay, so I'm going to put 3 videos here. First video will be how to install the Great War mod by the great YouTuber Exploding Ribcage. Then, of course, you also have Andy's take, who's done a brilliant guide on this mod. And then you also have Terminators, absolutely covered this mod to a great extent. And he's also covered another World War One game, which you really should keep an eye out for. So, don't forget to leave a like, share, comment, and subscribe, and stay tuned for more mod spotlights.